an area in northwest Jacksonville that proved to be the deadliest across the city.
This is the area 32209 right in here.
129 homicides in 2018, 25 of those happening in one zip code, 32209.
The death rate there is higher than any other zone in several categories. The number that sticks out the most, homicides.
We just realized, like, wow, there's so much more need in the community. We came off the crime map here in Jacksonville. No longer are they looking at Cleveland Arms or Vista Landing as a top area of crime.
Violent crime, and it's down.
Yeah, it's down tremendously, 50% over since last year. Last year, this time, we had 107 murders. This year, we have 53, so we're 54 down.
I mean, that's not just some small decline that you can claim as a fluke. What do you accredit that to?
I think there's a couple of things that help with that. One is our community partnership.
So we're just seeing a lot of opportunities that create change, but we know it doesn't happen overnight.
Come out here and they make everybody feel loved and appreciated, and they supported our community with a lot of things.
My name is Ron Armstrong, and I am the founder and executive director of Sponsored by Grace and Grounds of Grace. Come to Jacksonville in 2011 and I gave my life to the Lord here in Jacksonville. After giving my life to Jesus was, how could I give back into the community? And so 2013, there was an opportunity to go on what was called a compassion trip. And what it was we had a compassion child that we sponsored for $38 a month. Those funds went to providing clothes for a kid, safe place, feeding a child. So when we heard the invite from Joby, we headed on a plane to Cado, Brazil to see our compassion child, Ronaldo, in the mountaintops of Cado, which was the voodoo capital of Brazil. And on the last day of the trip, got off the bus and there was my child, Ronaldo, with the sign over his head. And so we spent the day together. It was great. And it was the realization that my $38 a month from a domestic level was making an impact on an international level. So we came back 5 years later, was sitting on my couch, and I look over on our refrigerator and there was Ronaldo, and saw his compassion picture, and just had this kind of crazy idea is, 1.4 million kids being sponsored from a domestic level. What about kids in local poverty? And so we always hear about the international need, but what about the local need? And one day I got a call that there was a family on the north side of Jacksonville that needed some beds. And when that kind of need rang out, I was kind of scratching my head and asking, well, why does the family need beds? And so in 2018, I took over some beds to this apartment complex, the old Cleveland Arm Apartments here in Jacksonville. And I think when the door opened, that's when my life kind of just sank and knew that there was a need right here in our backyard. And so from there, left there with just a heart of compassion, but also a heart to do something about it. And so from there, never formed a nonprofit before, didn't know what I was doing, gathered a couple friends at a local Starbucks, had a guy who believed in me. And next thing you know, we filed for a nonprofit to do something about local kids and local poverty. And here we are 7 years later with a full-blown organization and continue to make impact in the city of Jacksonville.
Sponsored by Grace exists to really empower residents living in poverty and crime-stricken areas to come up out of their circumstances, to embrace opportunities to become more sustained and grow into who God's called them to be.
Year one was it was tough, going into a community that did not look anything like me. I remember getting death threats on social media. I remember getting spit on, cussed out, people yelling at you. And I get it now because I look back on it and it was a trust thing. And now I can look at it and have an understanding of why. And so that's one thing that I knew I could be consistent with, is just keep showing up, show the community that, I really care about what's going on, and try to bring change to the community. And so that's what we did. We started a couple programs with child sponsorship, started getting volunteers, started seeing a little bit of money come into the bank account. So that was kind of like year one, was like, we really didn't know what we were doing, but we actually knew one thing that was working, and people just kept seeing the same face. They seen people show up every impact day. And so something was starting to change. Outsiders think that we can just kind of go in the middle of a problem and fix it. We got all the solutions, we got the people, we got the money, we got the resources. And that's honestly like what I thought in the beginning, was like, oh man, we can just go in and tell these people like what to do, how to do it, where to go, what job to get. And quickly did I realize like that was not the mission at all. We can't continue to try to fix anything out here. We just have to continue to love people, point them to Jesus, and let the Lord do his work.
I've been here for 15 years, and since Sponsored by Grace has been here, I've seen a lot of change in people in general, and in the opportunity that they offer, you know, food, clothing, shelter, baptism. You don't see that in our community much. I don't care what day of the week they're here, they always have a full crew. And that speaks a volume to this neighborhood and for these kids.
I feel really loved and really happy.
I learned about Jesus was a good person.
You get to learn about Jesus, that he died on the cross for us.
He sacrificed his life for us to be like alive and stuff.
We have 30 children in our sponsorship program. They're sponsored by an adult or a couple living in the city of Jacksonville. Not only with the child, but with the family, you know, walk with them through things that we all go through in life. A lot of the families in our community don't have a lot of support. So it's just somebody coming in from a different environment with a different perspective, trying to help the child and the family, again, and be empowered to take whatever step is necessary for them to improve their situation. And they do life together. Sponsors are required to come out to an Impact a month. We go on about 6 trips a year, so we ask them to participate in those. We ask them to communicate with their sponsored child once a week through a phone call, text message, and acknowledge their birthday. My wife and I plan on being in our sponsored child's life forever, and I think that's the heart of a lot of the sponsors, so that's our hope.
I have 6 children. 5 of my 6 are sponsored. Outside of Saturdays on Impact Day, they get them separately and take them out to parks and to the zoo and do little things with them that a lot of times I'm not able to do, especially like with my son. My son's sponsor is my biggest thing because he doesn't have an active father. So the positive role model that he gets from his male sponsor is a major win. I notice a lot of changes within him and his behavior too. It's good to have good people in your corner. When they do come around, it's from a genuine spot, not forced or anything. It's genuine love, and I love each and every last one of them.
Impact Days, I would say that's where it all began.
Every Saturday except the last Saturday, we're in the community playing field activity with the kids, arts and crafts. We do a Bible lesson and feed them a snack and have some free time. The Impact Days are amazing. Even if you come out and it's your first time, you're sponsored by Grace. Your first time you show up, you are part of us. And they grab you by the hand, they smile, and just want you to acknowledge them and spend some time with them, pay attention to them. I don't think they get a lot of that in their community, in their home. So it's just an opportunity to love on these kids, and they look forward to it all week. We work in the community, and every day is today the day y'all play with us.
You know, we got our advocate program where, you know, a lot of people come to me and say, how are you doing what you're doing? Well, I think it starts with the community. Like, we've hired directly from our community and have advocates that are living on property that work for us, which is a huge beneficial factor for us of knowing it's not just us doing the work. We've got the community doing the work as well.
It actually allows me to reach out to people who aren't familiar with what goes on in the community and get resources on how we can do better or something to help us as far as employment, high school diplomas, community, just outreach.
There's something about being around good people that bring the good out of you. So I like the environment. I like the energy.
We got our emergency assistance, anything from food insecurity, homelessness, grocery bills, funeral costs. If it's an emergency need, you know, we have our residents that go through our program system there where we can step in, you know, and then we're on site. You know, we're seeing high school diploma classes happening for the last 2 years now. We've seen over almost 30-something people walk the stage with their high school diplomas. That's a huge deal for us. You know, we have Women's Wednesdays. That's happening every Wednesday in our community where we're having a women gather together in a safe place that's been taught by an outside partnership with Bold Ministries, and just seeing that our women in our community are having value and sharing what's happening in the community, what's happening in life and the struggles.
Just having a space for us to be vulnerable, transparent, and open and honest with the things that we're experiencing, those barriers that are keeping us from being who God ultimately has called for us to be.
And on top of that, just like I said, being in the community Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Having letters written that it's making a difference. We came off the crime map here in Jacksonville. No longer are they looking at Cleveland Arms or Vista Landing as a top area of crime. So we're just seeing a lot of opportunities that create change, but we know it doesn't happen overnight. Grounds of Grace started 2021 as an idea of bringing local employment to this community. And so it was coffee, going out, buying a bus, transforming it, being a part of, what if this actually worked? Saw kids being employed from the community, local news stories catching on to it, Dolores Weaver picking up on an article in the newspaper, supporting our efforts along the way. And so we saw that, 2021, 2022 was just a really fun year of traveling around the city, giving hope to people and letting people see we're really trying to make a difference in this city by now creating jobs. And then 2023 came along and the Lord led me to Arlington of, just giving me a solid vision for potentially one day a coffee shop. And then continuing that employment model for not only just people in our community, but all the, other young men and women and people who wanted to be a part of something different. And, everybody loves coffee, and why not have coffee with an impact attached to it? And so, fast forward now is, we have 5 locations with Grounds of Grace. We have local moms that are employed from the community. We have amazing testimonies where people, one of my employees have walked in with suicidal thoughts and just very broken, and because they saw a cross on one of our coffee shops. And now she works for us. It's an amazing opportunity to know that, you're not just coming in for a cup of coffee, but your cup of coffee actually makes an impact here locally. Some of the changes that we've seen in the community, we've seen families move out of the community. We're seeing more and more kids, more and more kids every weekend throughout events, throughout trips. So we know that the kids are still engaged. The big one for us is partnering with the local management company. Just having a solid, pure relationship with the manager, with the vice president, regionals, and them saying that they appreciate our work and that they see a difference in the community, that's huge for us. The consistency has been there for 7 years, seeing people getting their jobs, getting their high school diplomas. It creates a sense of wow, I can actually do this. And then we step away knowing we didn't step in to try to fix something, we just stepped in to try to elevate somebody.
This type of ministry, this organization, this community, there isn't a lot of quick, easy fruit. We have one woman in the community specifically, I've been pouring into her, investing into her, ministering to her for years. And this year she got her driver's license, she got her high school diploma, she became employed by our coffee shop, and she had a baby. Just what a thing to be able to witness all of those opportunities, all those steps of empowerment that she's taken in this year. That is the reason.
We believe that we have an opportunity to continue to partner with local businesses, local families, local churches, that we can continue to do this hard work in the city, because we do believe that just in one community, there's about 15 more communities throughout the city that need the same thing that the Lord has sent us to do. And we believe that through the education of what we've seen, we can now educate churches, we can educate community groups, we can continue to educate people. What does it mean to serve the backyard of your community? International mission work is needed, but also a lot of times local work is neglected. And so how do we transform a blueprint into what we've seen, what we do, and give that over to somebody to do it in their communities with communities that may be struggling. And so we're excited for what the next couple years may look like. We're excited for the coffee company to continue to grow and to continue to impact people around the city, continue to expand our programs through the community, continuing to hire locally. But I think the biggest thing, is watching how we can stay consistent. Our consistency will always be the key to the victories of what we've been able to do, where the Lord has put us. And I really just have to release my hands off it, knowing and trusting that the Lord will continue to do His work. So if you're looking to get involved, whether that could be, hey, I want to come check this out, I want to be a part of this, or just explore it, would love for you to reach out. You can go to our website, you can fill out an inquiry, you can get involved there. Somebody will be in contact with you about attending an Impact Day. What does an Impact Day look like? You can get your church involved. We'd love to educate the church and the congregation of how do you get involved with a local initiative like we do. You know, if you're looking to get involved financially, it's very easy. Obviously, the biggest thing that we always ask for people to do for us is just to pray for us. You know, pray for the mission work that we're doing here locally in the city of Jacksonville, that we'd be good stewards of what we have, that we would stay consistent, and that at the end of the day, we would just give him all the glory.